Oh, what's up, guys? Listen, man, it's a beautiful day out there. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining, unless you're in Balaged with poor Yarok. Yarok is an elemental horror, just like RuPaul, that grieves within the waste of Balaged's corrupted land. It seems to have been corrupted by the influence of Ulamog and Kozilek, turning from a guardian of life and growth to a cultivator of nightmares and horrors. However, the lament for Balaged implies that it retains some control over the elements, specifically concerning blue mana, and it retains enough self-awareness to grieve for what it once had been. Yarok fought in defense of Zendikar during Phyrexia's invasion of the multiverse. It's a real hero. But dang, it's just a sad elemental hanging out in the ruined Eldrazi wasteland. No girlfriend, no boyfriend, no pizza, just a hunk of a chunk of a heart, a green heart. And that's why we're talking about this beast today. Yarok got a reprint in Multiverse Legends bonus sheet for March of the Machine. Not March of the Penguins, dude. That's a different movie, brother. Listen, that one penguin who dropped the egg on the Arctic ground, man, that mom penguin came back and just starts chirping at him. I feel for that guy. Man, this turned into a sad video, but Yarok the Desecrated is a sad character. 2 black, green, and a blue for a legendary creature, elemental horror. It's a 3/5 with Death Touch and Lifelink. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Very powerful effect, and not a bad little body on the old Yarok here. That Death Touch with 5 toughness can dissuade the nuisance attacks and can take a bit of a beefy beating. So why is this card $2.41 right now? I don't know, man, but that's a reason to try this commander. This thing was like 20 bucks for a while. Yarok suits all budgets. You can build a $25 deck with the pretty solid bones. You can upgrade this all year round and just be a happy little camper. Reason number 2 to try Yarok is that it says permanent. It doesn't say creature or artifact. You can go down a Landfall rabbit hole if you want, dude. That's kind of the fun thing about Landfall decks. You're playing lands anyway in your deck, man. You gotta play lands, brother. And you're in green, so everything goes and gets lands. Even 9-cent cards like Coiling Oracle here become all-stars. Now, Tatyova Benthic Druid is a good card anyway, man. People build their whole decks around this thing. Very powerful. You have bonker synergy with these cards. Tireless Provisioner. Check out the hot blonde version of Tireless Provisioner. Alright? I'm going to marry her someday. Green is also one of the best fixing colors. Your mana situation gets big fast. And reason number 3 to try Yarok, Blink. Blue has some of the best blink in the game. I would say secondary only to white, and that's a toss-up. There are so many, dude. Displace, Ghostly Flicker, those are probably some of the most efficient. But Displacer Kitten is out there making a mess, dude. This is still over $10, and it's such a powerful fit for this archetype. Look at this cute little guy. 3 and a blue for a creature cat beast. It's a 2/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Fantastic, dude. Look at this cutie. Now, reason number 4 is combo, dude. Anything with repeatable blink is pretty easy to combo out with as well. Blue has these stupid Peregrine Drake type cards. Even Cloud of Fairies is a powerhouse in a deck like this, even if you're not comboing it out. Especially if you're running little blink engines like the old Deadeye Navigator. Or if you want to get real fancy, you can run some reserve list cards like the old Great Whale here. 5 blue for a creature whale, it's a 5/5. When this enters the battlefield, untap up to 7 lands. It's just a dang free creature, dude, unless you're blinking it with Yarok out there, man. You're making 7 extra mana even if you don't blink it. It's Brendan Fraser, dude. He's the whale. Kind of looks like him a little bit in the eyes, man. Come on, give him the respect he deserves, dude. Give Brendan Fraser his flowers. And while we're on the subject of reserve list cards, let's talk about Panharmonicon. 5 blue for a creature illusion. It's a 4/5 with flying. When this guy enters the battlefield, untap up to 7 lands. It also has 2 blue, return Panharmonicon to its owner's hand. That last ability makes it a 2-card combo with a Yarok. Not that I would ever be monstrous enough to do that, right? Who am I kidding? That's a goal of mine. If you're lucky enough to have a Panharmonicon, use your illusion, brother. Thing's cheaper than ever. Great Whale's only about 13 bucks. Panharmonicon I think is down to about $30. Don't quote me on that though. Now, reason number 5 to try Yarok is that sweet value, man. Listen, Hostage Taker is one of my favorite cards. I play it anyway. I like her cartoony sword. I like her style, man. It reminds me of Xbox 360 games for some reason. Spyro the Dragon, all that stuff. When this thing enters the battlefield, exile another target creature or artifact until it leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. I use this to steal soul rings, dude, and arcane signets. Come on. And while we're at it, how about Thieving Skydiver? Love this card. 1 and a blue for a creature merfolk rogue. It's a 2/1. Has kicker of X. X can't be 0, you jerk. Has flying. When this thing enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, gain control of target artifact with mana value X or less. If that artifact is an equipment, attach it to Thieving Skydiver. So I pay 2, right? And Yarok is on the battlefield. That ETB triggers twice, right? It was kicked, satisfying that condition for each activation. I'm not a rules expert though, but I think I could grab a Soul Ring and a Lightning Greaves. Correct me if I'm wrong on that though, I'm sure you guys will. You also have one of my favorite cards out of Visions, the Shrieking Drake. With the aforementioned Cloud of Fairies, that's a wrap, brother. You get infinite mana. If Yarok is out there, target the fairies for one activation, then the Drake for the other. They both go back to the hand. This has boss Visions art, man. That's when men were men and magical men were magical men. Then you have Drake's cousin, the Dreamstalker. This guy's very handsome, that's what his mother tells him. Looks like a mama's boy for sure. His mom tells him how cute he is, tells him to go down to the corner store, buy stogies. Reason number 6 to try Yarok is interaction. Do you like Ravenous Chupacabra? Well, what if you got 2 triggers off of this thing? Dude, listen, you would marry a Ravenous Chupacabra if you got that. Don't lie to me, dude, I've seen your Tinder matches. Some of them look like a dang Chupacabra out there, brother. Yes, Sultai Colors has some of the best ETB removal in the format. Yeah, it's got Reclamation Sage, but how about Massacre Worm? Uh-oh, man, blink this guy a few times and all but the biggest of beasts die. Look at that mug. This guy goes to the dentist. And this is the dentist, the Noxious Gear Hulk. 4 black for an artifact creature construct. It's a 5/4 with menace. When this guy enters the battlefield, you may destroy another target creature. If a creature is destroyed this way, you gain life equal to its toughness. Love this mad lad striding about, stabbing people with building-sized swords. Reason number 7 to try Yarok is Redundancy. If this guy gets murked 5 to 7 times, you know it's gonna be. You have a little card called the Virtue of Knowledge. This thing's only 4 and a blue for an enchantment. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. You don't get redundancy like this with the Mother of Machines, dude. She's stealing all the valor out there. This also has this little adventure time. 1 in the blue for an instant. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is tailor-made for a Yarok deck. The adventure side is even relevant, man. That Vantress Visions, brother. Copying those effects can get out of hand quickly, as we've demonstrated. And of course, you also have the old panharmonicon. If you build into a heavily creature-based deck, these redundant pieces keep your deck functioning even if your commander's off the battlefield. And take a look at this guy, the Ancient Green Warden. This guy's 6 mana for a creature elemental. It's a 5/7 with reach. You may play lands from your graveyard. If a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Very solid card and a landfall heavy theme. Now I want to highlight this card real quick, the Sire of Stagnation. It's under $3 for this beast right now. 4 blue and a black for a creature Eldrazi. It's a 5/7, has Devoid, but who cares? Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that player exiles the top 2 cards of the library and you draw 2 cards. This guy, man. So note that Yarok says, if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. The initial ETB doesn't have to be under your control. They can get some ETB, your opponent's there, and it will trigger the Sire here too. And reason number 8, because we always go the extra mile here at Better Commander, is that you can get that hipster credibility with cards like the old Gruff Boys, man. These guys are Satyr warriors. They have trample. When they enter the battlefield, if it isn't a token, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. When it dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on each creature you control named Gruff triplets. Dang, man, that's 5 Gruffs, dude. This guy thought he had triplets, but he had a family hiding across town, man. And that's childhood trauma, and that's Better Commander, dude. So how about Oubliette? This can ping pong 2 opposing commanders while you go to town with value. 1 black for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, that's the magic word. Target creature phases out until Oubliette leaves the battlefield. Tap that creature as it phases in this way. Who doesn't want a friend to hang out with in the Oubliette, brother? Wouldn't even be that bad being down there just broing out with your favorite lad. And who wouldn't want to be stuck in the Oubliette with Urtai Resurrected? Check this handsome guy out. Got quite a glow up in Dominaria United, man. This guy used to be a little different looking back in the day. 2 blue and a black for a legendary creature, Phyrexian Human Wizard. It's a 3/2 with flash. When this guy enters the battlefield, choose up to 1. Counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Its controller draws a card. It's fantastic, man. Or destroy another creature or planeswalker. opponent's controller draws a card. So you're giving them cards, but this is an excellent control option, and counterspell creatures are good. But this guy has that destruction option. You know, if you're getting 2 triggers, you don't always have 2 spells to counter. With Blink, you have a lot of control at the cost of card advantage for your bros across the table. But that's life, man. Anyways, man, be kind to your bros out there, because you never know when an oubliette situation may come about. It's bad news if your buddy's mad at you for 1,000 years in an oubliette. I like Yarok because he's wide open, he's scary, but the rest of the deck is things people are building without the doubling effects. ETB effects are great, man. And we had this Mother of Machines, Elish Norn, come out. She stole all the thunder, man. So let's give some thunder back to our old pal Yarok. Snicky G for Better Commander, signing off.